It's very rare that I say a player handed their opponent the win, but this Golf Sabalenka Wuhan semifinal is one of those special occasions. Hey, my name is Christian Basnight, and welcome to Christian's Court, where I cover tennis from all angles. If you haven't yet already, make sure you subscribe and click the notification bell so you are notified whenever I post my final recap videos for both Wuhan and Shanghai. Aryna Sabalenka has reached her third consecutive Wuhan final after overcoming a double-fault-prone Coco Gauff 1-6, 6-4, 6-4. I thought that this could be a top 10 match of the year contender for sure before this match started. Both women were playing excellent tennis as Coco was on a 9-match win streak and was really playing the best tennis of her life, while Sabalenka was also in good form and she was looking to protect her unbeaten streak in Wuhan. But it was a complete and utter just mess and roller coaster of a match, and at times I questioned why I woke up at 4 a.m. for this. Now, from the way that Coco started this match, I would have never expected her to end it in the way that she did. The first set was perhaps one of the top 5 best sets that Coco Gauff has ever played in her entire career thus far. Sabalenka said that her game plan before the match was to be aggressive and take the net whenever she had opportunities, but Gauff simply didn't allow her to do this at all because she was so solid from the ground. In fact, Gauff was the aggressor herself in the early part of the match, which was quite a sight to see. I said that in my preview it would be a different match for sure in this one because how much more aggressive Gauff has been lately from the ground. And she really, now she's definitely a nightmare opponent for Sabalenka because first, she already had the impeccable defensive skills. Those are already top tier, just being able to get so many balls back in play and just frustrate Aryna. But now she has the aggression to dictate points to and apply immense pressure. Gauff finished the opening set with 7 winners to just 5 unforced errors, but Coco won a lot of her points from near winners, aka Sabalenka forced errors. Aryna, meanwhile, was definitely not 100% on her game to start this match. Her movement was notably poor, and she missed the mark a lot from the ground due to her kind of just trying to paint the lines and just kind of panicking against playing such a great opponent in Gauff. She finished the opening set with just 2 winners to 9 unforced errors. It also didn't help Sabalenka's case that Gauff returned lights out in the first part of the match. Coco won 54% of her return points, which is an exceptional feat considering how great of a server Sabalenka is. Gauff was also exceptional behind her own first serve in the opening set as she won 92% of points whenever she landed in that first delivery. Now, amidst this, her first serve in percentage was low around the 40s, and it dropped even lower in the second set, which is why Coco got broken twice in a row to open that set number 2. Sabalenka, meanwhile, she didn't take adequate advantage of Gauff's dip in level on her serve because the Belarusian got broken on her serve in her opening 3 service games of the second set. A lot of credit, though, should be given to Coco's returning skills because she did read the Belarusian serve well. But Sabalenka, she honestly didn't serve that smart to start off the match, and things didn't improve for her until she switched it up and went with slower first serves, which Gauff really didn't enjoy as much for some reason. I guess Gauff kind of preferred the pace of Aryna's first serve compared to the slower kick first serves. Despite her own double fault issues though, Coco still was in a great position to win this match in straight sets handily as she was up 6-1, 4-2. But with Sabalenka regaining her serve and Coco losing hers, the American was unable to seize her opportunities, and Coco, she lost her last 2 service games of the set. And when Coco got broken when she was up 4-3, it was particularly jarring because she hit 3 double faults in that game alone, and it was just a sight to see because the crowd gasped literally every time that Coco missed a first serve. The Asian swing fans they're so funny, honestly. Sabalenka, meanwhile, for her, it looked like she was going to run away with this match as she reeled off 7 games in a row to go up 3-love in the third set. Biglenka had 3 break opportunities to get the double break lead and essentially put the nail in the coffin, but Coco fought them off to stop the bleeding. And then Gauff, she had 2 break points in that following game, but it was Aryna's turn to escape trouble then. And I thought that once Sabalenka held and fought off those break points to go up 4-1, I thought that would be the final nail in the coffin, especially with how kind of poor Gauff had been serving. But Coco, she raised her level of serving these next few service games, and she held her own. And meanwhile, Sabalenka, her level dipped for sure, and it looked reminiscent, honestly, of a Muhova-like fumble as she did in that Beijing quarterfinal. Unfortunately, though, for Coco, Gauff was just unable to overcome her biggest Achilles heel in this match, which was, of course, her serve, as that serve literally lost her the match. Gauff threw in her 21st double fault on match point to hand Sabalenka the W. It really couldn't be more clear that Goff's serve was the defining story of the match. 21 double faults, that's literally over 5 games worth of free points. Like, you can't do that against such a great player in Aryna Sabalenka. Although Sabalenka wasn't playing her best tennis. First of all, they'll give him credit to Sabalenka for hanging in there. She definitely could have gone away for sure. And she definitely found a way on her serve to kind of mix things up. And she also stepped up her aggression. But she played within herself, though. And she was able to ultimately turn the tide and find her way eventually into that on multiple occasions. So props to her on that. But real talk, if Coco's serve was actually reliable, she could have beaten, I say could have, beating Aryna 6-1, 6-love. That just shows you how well she has been playing. From the ground, her ground game was still solid amidst her double fault issues. And Coco said herself, when her serve is on, the rest of her game is on. So I feel like if Coco's serve was solid, she could have played even better. But like Rafa Nadal said, if
doesn't exist.
There's no if when it comes to the final score line, and that's just the case. And also, too, I know some of y'all are probably going to be like, oh, why are you saying 6-love, 6-1? You're on Coco. You love to ride Coco, yada, yada, yada. I honestly like Coco and Aryna equally, so I'm just saying I'm calling a spade a spade. I do believe if Coco was reliable on her serve, it could have been 6-1, 6-love, especially considering how she broke Sabalenka 3 times off the bat to start off the second set. Now, on the flip side, you could say that Sabalenka should have won the third set 6-love, but I gotta give credit to Coco too for not completely going away and fighting until the bitter end. Coco has been struggling with her double fault woes for not only most of the Asian swing, but most of 2024. It did look better here in Wuhan as she served 0 double faults in her round of 16 match against Marta Kostyuk. However, I noticed that the double faults started to become more of an issue in her quarterfinal match against Magda Linette. She won that love in 4, but still her serve started to betray her towards the end. She escaped that without being broken, but she served 7 double faults against Linette. And I just kind of knew that this would be the deciding factor. Aside from her fatigue, I mentioned that. I picked Sabalenka to win this match in 3 sets, largely due to her fatigue, because she was showing concerns of that. Side note, Coco looked pretty fine energy-wise. The real culprit was simply the serve. It just let her down, and you can't win a match. It's hard to win a match when hitting 20-plus double faults. It's a near impossible feat in itself. Thinking about where Coco can improve her serve is obviously something not technically right with it. The elbow sometimes is a little bit too low. Also, Coco has a tendency to kind of drop her head on the serve, and that for sure can throw off her rhythm. At times, she just hit some wild double faults, man. It was really crazy to see. Also, I noticed that Coco has been kind of tinkering with her service grip, and sometimes she takes an extra moment to kind of pause and try to adjust it. It's definitely going to be a work in progress, but I think a lot of that too comes from her new coach, Matt Daly, who is an apparent grip specialist. So he's likely been trying to tinker. The team has likely been trying to tinker with that. And then double that with the fact that it's a high pressure situation. There's no wonder why Coco's serve would kind of betray her ultimately like this. But I do believe ultimately that she will find a way to get past it. Sabalenka, she notoriously had a lot of service struggles in early of 2022, and she had matches where she hit 20-plus double faults. She hired a service mechanic, though, and found a way to get through that, and now she's one of the most reliable servers on the tour. And Sabalenka even said in her press conference that, she felt bad for Coco because she was too in that position. But one thing that stood out to me, and I agree with Aryna when she said this, is that if Coco can solve that, she can be truly one of the greatest players. I'm not saying like the greatest of all time. That's a little bit too early to say, but truly, I agree. She can be, to be honest, a dominant force on the WTA tour. And I say that because for you to hit 21 double faults and still push the world number 1 in the race. So that shows you Sabalenka literally is the best player on paper thus far this year due to the WTA Live Finals race. She pushed her to set 6-4 in the third set, despite giving her 5 games worth of free points on double faults. Like, once again, that shows you how well she has been playing. So many people have been still racking on Coco, saying, oh, you shouldn't have got rid of Brad Gilbert. But I think it was time for Brad to go. Her forehand has looked so clean lately in the Asian swing. It's simply still the serve. And it's been a long-rooted issue in Coco's game, really since the start of her career. The forehand, I think we can start to say that issue is relatively in the past, for now, but the serve still has got to improve. And I think that it's going to be the main focus for her and her team. If they can really address that in the offseason, she's going to be a scary force on the WTA and for years to come, for sure. Going back to Sabalenka, for sure she'll be happy to reach her now third consecutive Wuhan final, especially coming so close to defeat. But I think that she definitely needs to be sharper in the final when she plays against Qinwen Zhang. Zhang, she beat her countrywoman Xingyu Wang 3-4 to reach her, I think, first WTA 1000 final. Aryna has never lost more than 5 games actually against Zhang in their previous 3 matches, and their most recent affair was at the US Open in the quarterfinal there. But I think that Zhang, she has the crowd advantage for sure to perhaps get her through this one and get her through the tough moments. I will be intrigued to see whether she does rise to the occasion and gets over this clear mental block that she seems to have against Aryna, because like that US Open match was just ugly. She couldn't make a single return in the court, just giving Aryna so many free points, and Sabalenka wasn't even playing that great in that match. And it was low-key kind of a similar story in the Australian Open final from this year too. To be honest, I think that if Qinwen doesn't beat Sabalenka here, she might never beat Sabalenka. It might be like a Serena Sharapova type head-to-head situation for those two. My prediction still, I think that Sabalenka will come through. I think that it will be more competitive than their last 3 previous affairs. I'll have it being a 6-3, 6-4 win for the Belarusian, go make it 3 in a row in Wuhan. By the way, I got to address this clip of Sabalenka being annoyed with a ball girl apparently being slow and giving her the balls during the match, which has been making the rounds on social media. The ball girl, again, she was being a little bit slow in bringing her the ball, and people said that Sabalenka was being rude to her and gesturing her to move faster. Yes, I do agree that Sabalenka could have been more polite when asking, but I do believe that also people were just being way too dramatic. People don't realize that you're an athlete playing at a high level, the heat of a competition makes you do some things. We also have to note that the ball kids in Wuhan have notoriously been a little bit slower, and the same thing with Coco. Coco has kind of had showed frustration too, and then being a little bit slower getting her the ball. So I feel like it has an issue due to like the training with the ball kids. But Aryna, she even recognized that she might have been a bit too harsh, and she made up with the ball kid in the end a few points later. Once again, people I think are a little bit too sensitive, and it's a shame though with social media. Everyone loves to pile on and criticize people, and they've done probably much worse in their own lives. Not to mention the person who posted this video, they made matters worse, and they lied about people booing Sabalenka, and they even admitted that they only posted this to push their own agenda and make one of their favorite players, Qinwen, look better. You know, there's so many people who were like, oh, if Qinwen did this, if Iga did this, the media will blow it up, so we should blow this up. Like, no, stop doing that. No one should blow up anything from something like this with Sabalenka. People just love to create unnecessary drama, and it's really getting on my nerves. Anyways, meanwhile in Shanghai, we have another blockbuster final between top seed Jannik Sinner and 4-time champion Novak Djokovic. Sinner will be the favorite to claim his 4th 1000 title. He's been playing exceptional tennis lately. He's only lost 1 set in Shanghai, and he beat the likes of Ben Shelton, Daniil Medvedev, and Thomas Makac in straight sets. And Makac, he played awesome in that semifinal, but it still was not enough to solve the Italian. He ended up losing that one 6-4, 7-5, and Makac did. Djokovic, meanwhile, he also only dropped 1 set en route to the final, and that was against Jakub Mensik in the quarters. He recently got his best win of the tournament thus far in beating Taylor Fritz, winning that one 6-4, 7-6 to advance and move to a 10-0 head-to-head record over the American. Djokovic has been playing solid, but the biggest concern for me would definitely be his body. He held his right knee a few times in the match and looked in danger too of being down 2 break points at 3-4, but as he always does throughout his entire career, he found a way. Also, not to mention too, he received treatment for it seemed to be like a hip problem midway through that second set. Novak leads the head-to-head with Sinner 4-3, but Jannik has won their last 2 meetings, and their last meeting here in 2024 was at the Australian Open semifinals, which Sinner took in 4 sets, but low-key that was still kind of a straightforward 4-set win for the Italian. Watching that match, it felt like Sinner was just like a younger, better version of the current Novak. Of course, Novak is like 37 years old, so he's not at his prime right now. Sinner is definitely playing better tennis overall recently. And I just think it'll be tough for Djokovic, especially with him seemingly not being 100%. Again, Novak will be the underdog, but I could high-key see him having another a moment like he did at the Olympics final against Alcaraz, where he was the underdog, but he just went all out and just gave his best effort to get the upset. Novak is going to be going for title number 100 too, so he wants this bad, and he also wants to show that he still got it and beat Sinner, who's definitely is rising as he's the world number one and by far the best player of the year this season. Still, though, I got to go with the young gun here, and I'm going to have Sinner winning this one in 3 sets. That is it for my semifinal Saturday recap, and let me know in the comments your thoughts about the Gauff-Sabalenka match, and if you believe that Coco does indeed have the potential to be one of the greatest, like Sabalenka said herself, if she does solve her double fault riddles. Again, make sure you subscribe and click the notification bell so you are notified whenever I post my finals thoughts and recap. Thank you all so much for watching and for your support, and I'll see you next time here on Christian's Court.